Hello and welcome to this episode of the Driven Podcast. My name is Sam Parkinson, and today I'm joined once again by Sarah Aubrey from Electrify This. Thank you.
Hello.
How you going? How are you going, Sarah?
I'm going very well.
Now, you've been on this podcast not too long ago. It's only been 4 6 weeks, or maybe a bit longer. But we had a great chat, and I was really keen to get you back to continue that conversation, which I found very interesting, and so did our listeners. The second most popular episode of the year so far. So let's have you back on and see what's been happening the last few months. Well,
I reckon so much has happened in such a short amount of time. I'm actually like, where do we start?
yeah. Well, I've been trying to write down some bullet points as to what to talk about, and I've had to really cut back because there is a lot. And you and I have done. We have seen each other since the last podcast. We rode around in a VW ID Buzz GTX and filmed a little clip for your YouTube, your YouTube account. What's the word?
Electrify This. Yes, if you want to catch that interview, it's on my socials on YouTube, which is actually great. We covered lots of stuff. And again, a lot has changed even since we recorded that.
Yes. No, I didn't forget your name, Electrify This. What do people say? YouTube accounts? Is that what they say?
I don't know. Yeah, YouTube.
Your YouTube, whatever. Anyway.
Channel.
At Electrify This on YouTube if you haven't seen it already. And yes, there were a few things that we that have changed in between recording that and actually editing it and getting it out. And then again, as you said, since getting it out and today, which has only been a couple of days. So there's a lot to cover. But first, I remember when I had you on last, we did a little overview of your home setup. You had already a 24 kilowatt hour battery at home.
Yes, a 24 kilowatt hour SIG Energy battery, fully electric house,
Yes.
hot water heat pump,
Yes.
induction stove, lots of insulation.
Now
10-star home.
a 10-star home, which again, that's the top. Is 10-star the top? Can you go higher?
You can't go higher, and you can't get a 10-star home on the residential efficiency scorecard without having solar.
Right.
It's actually not possible. So you could do everything to your house, but you have to have solar to do that.
Interesting. Okay. Right. Well, you've not stopped there because you've actually doubled your home battery storage. Is that right?
I did. So the rebate came in obviously from the 1st of July, and my battery I put in before the rebate was announced. I think I literally put it in like 3 days before they announced it, which I didn't realize. But I did, of course, get the New South Wales state government subsidy. And after the 1st of July, I just said, I'm just going to have to make that battery bigger. Yeah. So I did also get a discount from SIG Energy very kindly. And so they came. And do you know what? It's actually much cheaper to expand that battery as well because the labor is so tiny. They were there an hour because all the work's done.
Yes.
So each module weighs, I think they said about 90 kilos, 80, 90 kilos, something like that. So they're not light. No. And they just take the top off and stack a couple, 3 more modules at 8 kilowatt hours each, and boom, got a 48 kilowatt hour battery, which is, I think, probably taller than you, Sam.
Taller than me. Well, would you like to talk about my height?
Yes, you're 6'5". I had Nirav Bart standing next to it, and I think he's about 6'2", and it's taller than him. I think it'd be close. In fact, I'm going to get you around.
Yes.
I'm going to see who's taller. That is my battery or you.
That's the key metric, of course, the height of the battery. But in terms of the output and doubling it, how has that changed? Your energy use at home.
Not really at all at the moment because, of course, it's spring, it's low demand. So on Amber, I don't feel like we're certainly not seeing any price spikes. It would have vastly benefited me during May and June, during winter, when we had these really big price spikes. One of them was so long I had to tap out of it, and it just kept going for hours and hours. I could have made so much money. I think I made $400 on the one night, but I could have made more. We'll see. I don't know what summer's like. I haven't done a summer yet because I've only been with them for 7 months. So I suspect when we hit peak time in summer, we might see some interesting pricing. But I don't stress about it now. I think 24 kilowatt hours is fine for most people. I'm interested in trading energy and being part of that virtual power plant and contributing to the grid and selling energy. So I kind of wanted to have more up my sleeve, so I knew I had plenty to consume. And in winter, I'll certainly be very happy in terms of consuming and not stressing about not having enough, and then still having plenty to sell.
Yes, excellent. Well, $400 a night, not a bad little side hustle there.
It was well, I'm $1,400 in credit, and I've not had an electricity bill since I went with Amber and got that
Mm.
original 24 kilowatt hour battery. Now, they do have a sign up bonus. Feels like it's a Ponzi scheme of some sort, where if you sign up someone, I get a credit, they get a credit for $120. So most of what I earned last month, because I was already $1,000 in credit, most of what I earned last month was 2 people signing up. I think maximum is what is 2 people can sign up.
Mm.
So I will just clarify that. But if you know someone who wants to go with Amber and you're already with them, then, or you want to join and you know someone, then you can do the same. But yeah, I just wanted to sort of make sure people understand that. So yes, you're not going to be making a lot of money right now, but we certainly have energy independence, and I'm in credit, so I'm just not going to. I don't know if I'll ever get another
Yeah.
electricity bill.
Well, I'm in the process of looking at options for putting some solar and some battery in my house. Now that subsidies are in, especially. But I think I mentioned this to you in a couple of text messages last week, where I got an offer from my energy retailer to put in a smart meter, so I could and so I and they could have access to real-time data around the electricity use of my house. And they said, "Oh, we'll install that for you at no charge." However, just on the side, your tariffs will jump significantly. Your daily service fee will jump by almost double, and the and the rates in which I'll pay for the electricity will jump as well. So I thought that was a bit disappointing.
Sly. They actually will put everyone onto a smart meter eventually. So right now you're on that sweet tariff that no longer exists.
Nice.
And this was something that we didn't know when we got solar. So if you get solar, you have to get a smart meter. We didn't know that. And we originally had a very small, tiny 1.7 kilowatt array put in, and it really wasn't worth our while. We bumped it up then to 4.7 because we have issues with roof material. It's slate roof, so you can't put it on there. So it's only on the back of the house. Anyway, we didn't realize that we would lose that sweet, sweet tariff that we were on. And that's never explained by people who install solar. And it's just never explained. So you have to be really wary of the fact that as soon as you get that smart meter, as you said, things are going to get more expensive. And they don't like you to be on that old one because they can't track you in the same way.
Well, I'm staying on it for now until I get.
Stay on it until you get solar.
Yes.
Do not change to a smart meter is my advice to anyone who is interested. And you'd have to get a smart meter, of course, for a battery as well, because you're sending energy into and you're drawing from the grid. So they need to measure that correctly, and especially for safety, they need to know what's going in. Not just out.
Now, while we're on this topic, and we'll get to EVs soon, because obviously that's what we want to talk about. But it all kind of is part of the same ecosystem, and it's all very relevant. But you're someone that has solar and a battery, but you don't actually own a vehicle, right? You don't have really an electric vehicle or any car.
Not as yet.
Not as yet, but you're in the market.
Well, my electric vehicle is my electric bicycle.
Yes. Well, you have an electric vehicle of sorts, but not you don't have a
an EV.
Not driving an electric tank around like an EV, another thing like just yet.
I'm not really the type to drive around an electric tank anyway, but sure.
Look, we're Australian. They want the tank apparently. It seems to be pretty much.
Yeah, I'm waiting for like a really big electric ute. I'm really not.
I can see Cybertruck. I can see you in a Cybertruck.
It's the dream.
Now, last week on the Driven podcast, we had Tim on, and we were just talking about this V2G trial that Origin Energy had announced, and it was piloting a subscription bundle where basically for $800 a month you get a BYD Atto 3, you get a bi-directional charger, and you get a dedicated tariff. And you might be the kind of person that they would be looking at as the kind of person that would potentially be interested in such a scheme. Are you interested in something like that? Does that make sense to you?
I would if I had a driveway.
Yes.
But I do not. And that's primarily, actually, that's not why we don't own an EV, because I drive them around and it's perfectly great. It's just financially right now we just haven't bought one. But so I'm assuming that they've basically copied what Octopus Energy were doing in the UK. That's pretty much what they've done, right?
Yes.
I mean, that's great. I mean, it's
driveway important though.
Driveway essential. which 80% of Australians can charge at home. So yeah, that covers most of the populace.
80%?
Yeah, it's something like that. 80%, even like it's even higher. Like it's a lot.
Price?
Most people can charge at home.
Really?
Yeah. So we are a small problem, you and I, Sam.
Well, we're a growing problem. We're there.
We are.
Yeah, there's more and more people. Am I wrong? Am I wrong?
I think the type of people that would like to jump into an EV sooner would be potentially people who live in the city
Yes.
and potentially don't have a driveway. You and I both live in areas that were designed before for the horse and cart in mind, and people who live in apartments. So there's certainly, like the battery, pent up demand. I think there's a pent up demand certainly for electric vehicle uptake in that demographic, but it's. I think we. That's that. Let's look at the low hanging fruit, as you said, which is certainly this Origin thing, because I mean that's great. I mean, if it means that you can get people set up and you can really help with people's bills, and they've got a vehicle. Look, I think it's amazing if they manage it for you. And what's the deal? You've got to plug in a certain number of days a week. Is that the deal? I haven't actually read.
Yes, I think there is
Involved.
some commitment from you to make sure that you are connected, so that you can offload to the grid the exact amount of time. I don't have that right in front of me right now, but I think with Octopus it was something like 20 something.
Yeah, it's over 21 or something
Yeah.
times out a month, which is all right. I mean, I wouldn't want to fret. I mean, God, I'm home every night. So I could know how to do it, no problem.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I know that Amber are doing exactly the same thing. They've been trialing that for quite a while, actually.
Yeah.
There's been people in South Australia with Nissan Leafs making serious coin for quite a while, and they're thrilled. And I know that they're doing it now because Osgrid have obviously approved now vehicle to grid, and all the DNSPs are coming on board, which is fantastic to see. DNSPs, for anyone who doesn't know, are the distribution network service providers, and they're the people who look after all the poles and wires. So they're all
on board.
We're right on the cusp, aren't we? And we're just at the beginning of it. So it's exciting they've offered it. It'll be really interesting to see who takes it up and whether they love it.
Yeah, well, we'll wait to see the results from that subset of 50 people who are trialing this subscription with Origin, but we'll be looking closely at that. Now, EVs, back to strictly speaking EVs. Now, when we did this, actually the last time you were here, and also when we did that video in the Buzz, we talked about how much we'd really like to see some more small cars. And then we were like, what about the Atto 1? Well, we're not sure if that's coming.
Do you think they're listening?
I think it was definitely a direct result of our
100% it was us. Definitely.
Credit for that. Lo and behold, in between recording and publishing, BYD did in fact announce the Atto 1 coming to Australian shores. Now that's going to start at $29,990.
No, I think it's going to be around 25.
So I get that wrong?
I'm pretty sure before on road costs. I think the BYD person said around 25, and we were trying to figure out
maybe
whether that meant before or after on road costs. But yeah,
maybe I'm thinking about after on roads. In any case, this is the first EV in the 20s, I think.
If it's drive away, absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
And this is exactly what we want to see, because you and I agree, and we've spoken about how we think that we just need some more affordable EVs to get into the market, and we spoke about the Insta, which you've driven around, and I'd love to hear more of your thoughts about it as well, and what a great vehicle that is. But
I love that car.
It's still a little bit overpriced for for what it is still, but if they can bring it down just a little bit further into that.
What did we say? Knock 10K off it? They've knocked 4 off. So.
Yeah,
little way to go.
Again, probably as a direct result of our
Absolutely, it was us. I love how I literally put out my reviews of that car, and it was like 3 days later, I'm like, that's already out of date. Which is why I'm glad I don't talk about price, and I just put it in the description, so I went through and just changed that.
Well, maybe we'll edit out the price from this conversation. I don't know. But okay, so the Atto 1, so 220 kilometers of WLTP range, and a 30 kilowatt hour battery. Is that enough?
Actually, I have a question.
Yeah.
Do you think Australians would accept a car with that little
That
range? Do you think they'll buy a car with that little
that was
range?
my question to you. So on question. Um, that well, it's a good question. I don't know. I think that practically speaking, um, it should be enough for people who live in the city, and don't really go on long road trips, and just sort of going in between, inner city suburbs. I don't
Perfect as a second car, your little city
maybe a
runabout, if you've got a
car, or if you just
bigger.
don't, maybe that's all you need it for. For if you're only car, then that makes sense. But there is a I think for some reason I get the sense that when people think about expected range and what's a reasonable amount, it always seems to be around that 500, 450 kind of thing. That's what I need, minimum amount. Otherwise that range anxiety question comes back in. So I don't know. I mean, there is a premium variant which pushes it up to 310. And I wonder whether that will be the model that most people will actually choose. Uh, I guess we'll wait and see. But I think practically speaking, 220 for the city slicker is sufficient. For whether that's actually going to translate into how it sells, then I actually don't know. I don't
Mm,
know. What do you think?
you know what? I think they should just bring that extended range one and make that the $25,000 car. That's what I think.
Well,
Putting it out there, probably not gonna happen. I don't know, I think if you have a driveway, I think we need to really push the idea and say it ad nauseum to people who are thinking about getting an EV that if you can drive, if you can park at home and you can charge at home, it doesn't matter it depends, sure, if you're doing long distance drives all the time, of course, a lot of range matters, but for your daily driver around the city, it's fine. That's plenty. I just think people panic about it, and you don't have a driveway, you always publicly charged. I've just been publicly charging. It is possible if you have enough chargers near you just to charge that way. You got to think about it a bit more. But my goodness, when I can plug in at home just running the cable out with my footpath license and charge at home, and how unbelievable it is. Like, it's so easy. It does my head in how easy it is and why people who can charge at home just don't go and get an EV straight away.
mm, mm,
It just shocks me. I'm so frustrated that this whole idea of range anxiety is so pervasive when actually I don't think it is.
mm.
So I'll be curious to see if the fact that it's so affordable versus having that little bit of range compared to the majority of cars. I don't know. We'll see. But I'm confident that if something's that affordable, that could be your gateway drug into electric cars. If you've got two cars, you've got a little. I've got a friend who's in the market right now. He's got an old little Suzuki as their second car and a Mazda CX-9 as their family car. And they've kept that little bomber going around the city and it's dying. And I told him that car's coming. And he's like 6 foot something like you. He's thrilled. He's like, oh, okay. Like, that's a possibility for them because they've got a driveway. It's their little runabout. It would service all their needs and would replace that little car that they've got
Yeah,
already.
yeah. I mean, that sounds like that would make sense. Absolutely. I
Mhm.
mean, is this going to shift the bias psychology into making people feel like EVs like feel normal rather than a premium type of car? Like it's not like it's a luxury car now. I mean, when you think of an EV, I think a lot of people think, oh, well, that means a lot more money and that means luxury. Is this kind of car, it's debuting in its 20s? Is that going to change that psychology?
I think it depends. You could go, well, there's an EV that's 20 something. I mean, already we've got the Dolphin that's 29,990, right? So that already exists in terms of affordability. But then the trolls will be like, oh, but it's only got 220. They'll find any excuse to have a go at it. But for people who are genuinely shopping for a small car,
Mm,
which, as we have spoken about before, is a very vibrant market in the second-hand vehicle space, and they're wildly practical around the city where you can just park them anywhere because people are buying giant cars. If I go into one more car park where I just see people are struggling to park these huge cars, and I just go, and how are you feeling about that choice?
well, I
Are you feeling good about
as
it?
someone that's currently driving a Kia Carnival, as a courtesy vehicle while I
Oh.
place. I don't love shopping centers right now, or parking at all, to be fair. But yes,
And don't you reckon as well, when you're driving around then and you're trying to, like, get up the ramps, and you have to swing out a little bit to go up the ramp, and there's giant utes sticking out of or giant SUVs, and you just can't get the turn because there's these huge cars sticking out. And I'm like,
Yes. Yep.
anyway, that's a whole other
Thing.
a whole other story.
Yes, size of vehicles is something which, it's as as you have pointed out, we don't just want to replace every Land Cruiser with an EV9. That's not the full solution. Of course, we want to electrify transport, but we don't necessarily have to turn everything into like giant tanks, which are 7 meters long and impossible to park. But anyway, as you said, another conversation. By the way, I love the EV9. I don't want to bang on about the EV9 as an example of a bad.
Lovely car.
Great car if you need something that big. Now, for legacy automakers, how should they respond to a price leader model like this entering the market?
Well, I think Hyundai might be a bit worried about their Insta to start with. I mean, we don't have many cars in that space, so there's not a lot of competition, to be fair.
We got the Insta. There's the EV3. Would that qualify as a?
No, that's bigger. I'd put that in a segment above that for sure.
So what else?
I'd put the Kia EV3 in a and a Volvo EX30 kind of that segment. I don't think there is any. Fiat 500e and the Abarths. So those two, but they're not exactly big sellers. And aren't they being phased out anyway? So I don't know.
Yeah.
There's not much competition. I do worry for the Insta though. I think that is a major problem for it because that is a lot cheaper.
Yes, it is. And even with the recent price cuts, if you haven't checked out on the Driven, we have published the latest Hyundai price cuts specifically, and they've anywhere between $3,000 and $35,000 in price cuts. Now I had to when I saw that, I immediately wrote to Riz, the journalist, and I think you got
Is that right?
a typo. And he said, no, that's actually correct. So I think
that extra zero is meant to be there. Yeah.
It was Ioniq 6, the 23 model, which has been cut by something like 30 to 35,000. Which, if you want a 23-year model Ioniq 6, it's only going to cost you $4,000 now, more than the Insta.
And that shows the problem with the Insta, because that's a lot more car. Like nearly 4.9 meters long or something, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, you're not going to be in the same segment, are you? I mean, it's almost like a car and a half, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great. I love the Ioniq 6, great car. I think it's
so efficient.
Yeah. I think they look great. I'm sad they haven't sold more, but maybe again it's a pricing thing. We maybe we'll see some others. They've got Firefly in that we've seen.
Yeah.
What have we got? We got the
Aeon UT.
Yes.
Is that the car?
Aeon.
And maybe we'll get the Geely. That would be good. What are they calling that? The EX2? I'm just really bad at pronouncing the Chinese pronunciation for it, but it's the name. I drove that car actually in China, and I thought it was great. It's rear-wheel drive.
Which one did you drive? Sorry, the
Geely.
The Geely.
Or Geome, as it's called over there. That's the brand. Yeah, drove that around little, like a glorified track kind of car park thing. It was great. Went around some cones and had a bit of fun. Yeah. And it handled really, really well. And space-wise, it's fantastic. I do wonder about the design. I think that it looks very Chinese, and I wonder how we respond to that design as much as maybe the Firefly would potentially. Is a bit more retro kind of styling, a bit more like the Honda E kind of vibe. I wonder if that would appeal to Australian tastes a bit more. I'm not sure.
I love Honda E.
Drove well.
We haven't got the Honda E in Australia, but when I've been to Europe and I've seen them, I'm going,
There actually are some floating around. They were brought in as grey imports.
Yes.
We're speaking to Nathan Gore-Brown, and he owned one. And to this day, we must have very similar tastes, because to this day, it is my favourite EV design, hands down.
I think we must have similar tastes, because love it. I love the Insta. I love the Honda E. I don't know. Maybe I'll have to import one. We'll see. I don't know if I've got that kind of money. Now, what else have we got? So you, since you last came on the podcast, you've driven quite a few different vehicles as well. So that includes, we were in the Buzz GTX. I think you had a drive of that. You also, what else have you been driving? You actually had to go in the Skoda.
Yeah, funnily enough, there were cars those were cars that we discussed as well. The Skoda Elroq I drove, the 150 years edition, and I also, in fact, it's sitting outside now, and I'm about to return it. The Skoda Enyaq Select 85, so the refreshed Enyaq with the Skoda written on the front rather than the emblem.
Yes.
Very, very
You got the
nice.
coupe version, the X.
No, it's the SUV version. I have driven the older version of the coupe,
Yes.
but
Thoughts?
more practical.
What are your thoughts generally on these vehicles?
Look, I actually really like the Skodas. I've got a real, I don't know why. There's something about it that appeals to me. There is a quality to those cars and an assuredness, especially on the hardware side. It just feels like a really nice car to drive, and you feel very safe and secure. It's yeah. I don't know why I like it so much. I didn't like the seats so much in the Elroq. I think whatever those seats are they put in for that 150 years edition, I found the material a little bit uncomfortable. Other than that, the software in both those cars is identical, and think it's excellent. I think if you were coming from a 10-year-old petrol car, you'd be thrilled to drive either of those cars because it didn't bing and bong at me once. Not once. I had one little lane keep assist tug moment, and it wasn't violent, and it wasn't enough to annoy me. But it's so easy to turn off any of that stuff if you want to anyway. Physical button right there, press it, boom, turn things off. But I didn't have to. It was so calm and quiet. So for that alone, it's worth considering.
I mean, you and I haven't actually. I only just found out just before we started recording this that you've driven those two vehicles, because I had driven them recently on their launches, and my thoughts were exactly that. It felt reassuring, safe. It felt well built. It felt reliable. It felt familiar, and I think that's what they're going for. And they're well priced. So I think they're great cars. I agree. I think if you're looking for a small or a smaller, they call it a medium-sized SUV, I think, the Elroq, and maybe a larger for the.
I would put the Elroq in the same territory as the EV3.
Okay, right.
And the Volvo EX30, it's just under 4.5 meters long.
Yeah.
And then the Enyaq is just over, I think, 4.6.
Yeah.
Something.
I mean, I think it's got to be on your list if you're looking. I mean, the Elroq starts in the 40s somewhere, I think, and then the Enyaq in the 50s.
I think, yeah.
That's 400.
54, I think. Yeah.
So yeah, I thought they're really comfortable to drive. I'm a big fan. And
you know what I also love is that it's not trying to look like an EV. Neither of those cars are trying to look like EVs. They're not trying to look like a car of the future. Most of these cars that we see coming out now are some iteration of the Tesla Model Y, and it's not trying to be that. It looks like any other Skoda on the road, and I like that. Yeah. So if you want to blend in, you don't want someone going, "Hey, you drive an electric car." No, then go buy one of those because you'll be very happy.
Yeah. Well, I think we need those cars. I've said this before on the podcast. I think it's great to have cars which are looking to be very different and spaceshipy and looking very sort of futuristic. And I think it's equally important to have ones for people who don't want that. They just want some physical buttons. They want something which feels not too far-fetched from what they're currently driving. Now, I did notice that you and I both like a combination of physical buttons and touchscreen. I don't love having to go through 3 prompts to open the glove box, for example. But so I do like those physical buttons. I noticed one of the comments on the YouTube video on the Electrify This YouTube channel, which said something along the lines of, "Why are you so obsessed with buttons, you Australians? Do you all use Blackberries as your phones?"
No, we're all old. I think we do it because we drive so many cars. We are quite conscious of the fact that when everything is in a screen, you do take your eyes off the road a lot. And if you have to go through, as you said, multiple prompts to do it, to turn off the annoying bings and bongs, for example, one of the very common ones you have to turn off with some of the modern brand new cars that you drive, any car, not just EVs, is the speed when you go 1K over the speed limit and the car beeps at you. So if you want to turn that off, some cars it's really easy. On the Kias, it's a long press on the steering wheel. Something like the Geely EX5, I think it's 3 or 4 steps you have to go through and scroll down at one point. I'm like, that's not cool. And as a cyclist and someone who rides electric scooters as well, that really concerns me that you have people are already looking at their phones and doing stupid things behind the wheel. But if you're legally allowed to dig into a screen and take your eyes off the road, that's nuts.
Mm.
So one of the absolute favorite things I love about the Skoda is that physical shortcut buttons will take you straight to the screen you want, and you can say touch the aircon, turn off whatever ADAS thing you want to. And that to me is about safety more than anything else. That's why it's important. That's why I think buttons, physical buttons, a mix is important. And honestly, if you want to change the aircon in your car quickly, I don't want to be digging into a screen. I do want a physical button to be able to do that quickly.
I agree. I just like the feeling of having physical buttons. I love the touch screens too, but yeah, a combination is good. Why? Anyway, but I don't have a BlackBerry, and I don't.
I never had a BlackBerry.
I had one for work, I think, in 2012, and no, I don't think I have a button obsession. I just like convenience, Sarah.
And I get it. Like people who drive Teslas and they drive, say, an Xpeng G6, and they love it, and everything's in the screen. I know that you do get used to those things really quickly, and you can even use voice prompts and all that stuff. But as we said, we're not saying one or the other. I'm just saying a combo so that you have the choice right then and there. And I do always worry that cars are going to become a little bit impenetrable for certain parts of the population. I always ask the question, could my mum drive this car? And many, many times I would say no. But I think she could get in one of those Skodas and be all right.
Yeah.
I actually think she'd be okay.
Well, that's right. I mean, I think if you've got a car with touchscreen and it's yours and you know it back to front, you get used to it, and you don't need to spend as much time looking, and it becomes safer as you know the prompts off by heart. But as you said, if you're test driving cars and you get into something where you're finding it really hard to figure out how to change the settings, that's going to put you off a little bit, particularly those particular people with certain demographics who are just looking for something that isn't too complicated. So they might,
or just coming from an older car.
Yeah.
Like if you're coming from a car that's even maybe 6 or 7 years old, you won't have any of this stuff on it. You won't have any touch screens. You'd be like, what?
Yeah.
And why is my car beeping at me? Like you'd be so confused.
Yes.
And annoyed.
Yes. All right. Well, the other thing we did touch on as well, apart from wanting to see, we want to see more small hatchbacks and entry level EVs. We also like to see some more vans and utes come into the market. And this week, Kia announced that they will launch their all-electric PV5 in Australia, which is a van in mid-2026, to be built on their new PBV architecture, platform beyond vehicle, they call it.
Do we have a price on that yet?
I don't think I do have a...
Because I think I remember seeing Ginny from Electrifying saying something like it was like half the price of the Volkswagen ID Cargo or whatever it was. It was like, it was a lot cheaper than the Volkswagen. I was like, okay. So again, that could be a bit of an issue for them.
Let me just...
Because that Buzz is very expensive, as we discovered driving it around.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk about the Buzz. I did like the Buzz, but I don't know. I don't have a price. I don't know if a price is available just yet. Yeah. So it'd be interesting to know what they're going to price that at. But
I think it's going to be pretty reasonable. It's not going to be silly.
No. Well, I hope not. I hope not, because it needs to be sensible in order for it to have any kind of imprint, I think, on the Australian market. But yes, it'll come with the passenger cargo and chassis cab forms with what they call a flexible body type, which means you can up to 16 variants from a limited set of base modules. So it sounds very modular. I don't really understand yet what that means practically.
So this could be a people mover, an MPV as well. Is that right? As well as the cargo van.
Yes.
Well, we definitely need something in the affordable range for that, because I don't think we really do we?
I don't.
Everything's like over $100,000, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm just thinking. Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking.
Zeekr 009, and then the Volkswagen ID Buzz. They're all
sort of plus
over $100,000. Yeah.
Well, at least yes. I think the Buzz with all the.
If you want it with the two-tone, gotta pay that extra $4,000. That'll tip you over $100,000.
Yeah. So, but with the PV5, so 51.5 kilowatt hour, 71.2 kilowatt hour for passenger cargo.
What's the range on that bigger battery?
I think they're saying up to 415 kilometers.
Wow.
WLTP, depending on the variant. Vehicle to load, which is good. And fast charging 10 to 80% in under 30 minutes across the battery types. Now, this is obviously going to be potentially something that fleets would be interested in. Do you think that 10 to 80% in under 30 minutes is that going to be? I mean, downtime is costly when we're talking about commercial vehicles. So, is that good? Is that good enough in your view?
What was the DC?
It was 10 to 80 in 30 minutes.
They didn't actually say what it was.
Oh, sorry. No, they didn't. Oh, I don't think so.
I love it when they do that. Well, I'd be curious to know, what's the AC charging on it? Do you know?
Let's have a look.
Hopefully it's at least 11.
Yeah, the AC charging. I haven't got the
specs.
That's above me.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's okay. People have got to eat lunch. Depends, doesn't it? It may not even need a recharge during the middle of the day, depending on if it's a regular run that it does, for example. But if it's a courier vehicle loaded up, I guess then you've got less range available to you. If you can bake in some charging time in there, if needed, then sure. But do you even need to go a full charge? Can you bring it down to maybe 30 and then top up to 70? Like, would that be like a 15-minute charge and not so much? But yeah, I guess it's a whole new way of learning to kind of bake in that charging time and pay people to be there to do that.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I think 10 to 80% is not what people charge most of the time anyway.
No.
So,
not unless you're crazy.
Yeah.
Although they're out there, they are out there. They like to just do that. I'm like, wow, no, I'm not that type of person at all. Actually, maybe that's a good survey to do. Are you the kind of person that runs it right down?
Yeah. Do let us know for those listening. Actually, I'd be interested to know. Leave a comment on the socials or on our website.
Are you a gambler?
Yes. Do you like to gamble with your child?
Do you take it down to what, 5, 4? What's the lowest you've taken it down to? Terrify me. Fill me with horror. Go ahead.
Well, we had Byron Matthew Darkus a few weeks ago, and he was driving his Toyota. What model was it? What's that EV? It's called some
BZ4X.
Yes, and he was driving it back from Adelaide to Melbourne, and he basically reached 1%, and it was kind of end up gliding. It was like airplanes when they run out of fuel, they actually just glide for quite a few hundreds of kilometers. I think it might have been a similar type situation where he managed to.
Oh my god!
Wow, that's impressive, but I also would never put myself in that position.
But they're out there. I've got a friend of mine who rides an electric motorcycle, and she sends me photos. She's in New Zealand, sends me pictures of 1%. I'm like, stop doing that! Stop stressing me out.
It's triggering. No, I agree. I'm on the conservative side with that. I don't think I let mine get anywhere below 20%, generally speaking. But there you go. So I think, look, we have a ute culture in Australia, and I think electric utes are going to play a part. But vans, maybe they should play a bigger part in the fleet market in Australia. In Europe they're predominantly utes. Sorry, they're not utes. They're predominantly vans. And they're they've got certainly quite a few electric options over there. So I think it's great to see this come out in Australia, and I'll be really interested to see what fleet operators think of this. Obviously, it's going to come down a lot to the price, which, as we said, I don't know if they've actually announced. Well, it's certainly not in the PR that I've gotten. But I'll revert back if that's not true. Maybe you're looking that up now, Sarah, whilst we're recording. But let me know if you do find an answer. Otherwise,
okay, so in the UK, it starts at £27,645, which is almost £7,000 cheaper than an entry-level Volkswagen ID Buzz Cargo.
Wow.
What's that in pounds?
I mean, so we're looking at maybe 50s, 60s, I'm guessing. What do you think?
There you go. Convert to Australian dollars. That is $56,427.
Okay, maybe high
56.5 grand. There you go.
roughly that. I think that's probably what I expected when I thought about what a good price would be.
Yep.
So yeah, I think if that's the case, that sounds good. Vehicle to load, is that going to be interesting to fleet operators?
I think that's a no-brainer,
Yeah.
especially if you were using it as a tradie, as you say. If you decided to buy one of those instead of a ute,
Yeah, on-site
brilliant.
power, mobile workshops. Yeah.
Yeah. So who would you be competing with? Like the Verizon? I guess that kind of van?
Yeah.
Because they've got vehicle to load, 3 power points in the back. I'm assuming you'd be competing with something like that. So they can't price it too high.
No.
It's a very small market. They want to try and compete with that.
But as we know, legacy automakers haven't always priced their things to compete that well.
No.
But yes, there's the 4D Transit Custom, which
Okay.
which would be a competitor. I don't have the top of my head how much that is. There's the Verizon, the Buzz, but as we know, that's going to be a bit more expensive. I guess positioned as a bit more of a premium option. I think LDV have a car,
They do.
a e-deliver. Yeah, so that's a potential. So there's a few there, isn't there? I mean, it's not just one or two. We've got at least 3 or 4, electric.
Well, the Ford Transit is 77.5 grand.
Yeah,
That's a lot more, isn't
not
it?
more, isn't it? Yeah.
Mm.
Well,
Okay.
I mean, I think that really positions PV5 quite well, there, doesn't it? I mean, that's we're talking significantly less upfront costs.
Yeah.
And
The e-deliver 7 van starts at 63. Just
okay.
77 with special price of 60 grand for ABN holders.
Right.
59,990. So,
Huh.
I mean, this is an AI overview, if that's correct. But yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
60 grand plus on road costs.
Okay. All right. So that's going to come in mid-2026. So we'll see pounds on one of those and have a little ride around as soon as they become available for the press to have a look at. I'll be interested to see how that is. I drove the 40 custom e-transit custom in Frankfurt, and I really like it.
Flex.
In Frankfurt. Deal. I think I've said that 3 times now on the podcast.
I think you even said it in our interview. Mind you, if I had driven that, I would be banging on about it too. I can tell you right.
Sarah, in Frankfurt, they actually.
Oh, really? What were you going to say?
Well, I just talking about my experience as an international journalist. No. Well, look. That's the last time. Okay, that's the last time I'm going to mention it.
Okay, that's it. I'm calling time on Frankfurt.
I'm actually driving it again in Melbourne in a few weeks, and then I can just reference Melbourne from then on. Okay, I don't have to mention Frankfurt anymore.
Will you mention Frankfurt when you go drive it in Melbourne?
I'll probably do so. Just
okay, you got one more chance.
Ah, jeez.
That's all right. I talk about China all the time. I've only been there that one car, but boy, am I dining out on that one. It was so fun.
Got to get some mileage out of our trip.
Absolutely.
Okay, so I like that car. We'll drive the PV5 when we get a chance.
Yeah.
Now, what else do we need to talk about? Oh, there was something which we thought was quite interesting. Now, the recently self-demoted Andrew Hastie from the front of the LNP party. Well, I mean, that's what it was, wasn't it? I don't think he demoted himself.
No, I shouldn't. That's not what I'm laughing at. I'm laughing at that video he put out.
Oh,
standing in front of an old car and talking about that we should bring back Australia's car industry. Is that what you're going to mention?
I was going to mention that. He made some strong calls to revive Australia's car manufacturing,
which was killed off by the coalition. Well done.
Yeah.
Good times.
Yeah.
I did have some thoughts and feelings about that when I saw that video. One was that I've noticed that Matt Canavan has picked up on it now. I think they think they're onto something.
Okay. Are they talking about? Are they keen on manufacturing EVs? I assume that's.
Oh no. It's like we're turning into East Germany. We're going to be driving fossil fuel cars that look the same. No, I don't know what they're thinking. Certainly, it's very clear that none of these politicians have been to China and seen the scope and scale and level of knowledge and tech. I mean, if I was in China right now, I would just be laughing at that. I would just be laughing at the idea. We are not going to ever manufacture cars again in Australia. We're just not. I think we could do batteries. Don't get me wrong, or we could do processing of minerals, and we could certainly work on that side of things. But cars, no. That's done. Unless the Chinese came and built a factory here that was fully automated and run by about 10 people, then sure. But no, it's done. We're cooked. And it's appealing. The thing I don't like about it is it's appealing to a certain type of demographic, a certain type of toxic masculinity that appeals to a time gone by of nostalgia when men were men and women knew their places and, it was all about the cars. And I also kind of taps into the type of guy that trolls me, which is the angry boomer petro guy, car guy. I was actually thinking about this the other day. I think the reason they hate electric cars, I could be wrong about this, but this is my theory. Since World War II, 40s, 50s, car advertising has focused pretty much solely on appealing to men and crafting the idea that a car represents your male identity. It reflects that, right? So you have car guys. Not every man's a car guy, but there are a lot of men out there who certainly, their car is an extension of them. And I think what's happening with electric cars is it challenges that because they don't know these cars. The car guys don't understand them. They don't know them. And it terrifies them that eventually, when all the cars on the road are EV, and they will be one day, they won't know cars anymore, which challenges their male identity. And I think it goes very, very deep. But instead of learning about it and embracing it, there's a certain type of man, and it is men, that instead just hate them and call them all the, use offensive homophobic terms, or, you're a woman if you drive an EV, or whatever it is they do, you're effeminate. And it ties in that idea of masculinity with driving a petrol car. And that is also very carefully crafted by the fossil fuel industry as well to continue that idea. So I'm curious to kind of see how that goes for Andrew Hastie, because he's appealing to a very shrinking demographic, and it's a very specific one. It's the petro bro kind of older man, potentially, or even younger man, but that's only half the population. And it's not even half the population, it's the car people. And really, if you love cars, you love all cars. That's my theory about that. I certainly appreciate fossil fuel cars and the design and the beauty that has gone into them, but I also love electric cars. And I certainly don't appreciate him saying that somehow driving these quiet cars is some kind of threat to us all, when I go, I am so here for it. I want quiet cars. I want clean cars. I want the air in our cities to be clean. And I just don't want to be listening to your V8 while you fart and go past me, because you might be enjoying yourself. No one else is. No one else around that car is enjoying it. And I, for one, am tired of the toxic masculinity. There ends my TED talk about cars. And you go, you've got no idea what you're talking about. But I don't know. The level of trolling I get, and it's all the same. It's all from the bloke with an ice car, some big old ice car as their profile pic, no profile picture, a motorcycle, a man holding a fish on a boat, or no, it's just like the Australian flag. Like, it's just every time. And it could be bots, but it's certainly reflecting an attitude of a certain part of the population. That's what they're appealing to. But I mean, look, their latest news poll was the worst they've ever had. So it's like, well, you keep doing what you're doing. The rest of us will go and buy an electric car and enjoy our lives and enjoy the zero fuel bills or very low fuel bills, and do something about leaving a legacy for your children that's actually going to be better than the one that we are living right now, or at least equal to. So yeah, that's my long answer to that, Andrew Hastie beer.
There you have it. There's the answer. I don't have much to add. Only to say that we did actually publish an article on The Driven last year. You look it up. It's by Daniel Bleakley, who used to write for The Driven, and he was citing a report by Comms Declare, which was talking about the jump in advertising spend for gas guzzling SUVs. It jumped 29% from 2022 to 2023. And it was just citing the fact that there is EV advertising was going down, certainly at that time. I mean, we might not be seeing it going down now, but just the increase at which fossil fuel cars are being advertised
Curious, right?
was curious. And in the article, Daniel also was talking about whether we should consider putting the same kind of restrictions on advertising for fossil fuel cars as we have on cigarettes and on other damaging products for society. Because, as you know, as we all know, these vehicles have a negative impact overall for our health, and some places have already started restricting fossil fuel advertising spend.
Some councils have, haven't
Yeah, on a health basis. So that's something to think about too.
I think one day that will happen. Let me give you an interesting tidbit. So the top 20 advertisers in Australia in 2024, there were 2 car makers in that list. Have a guess who they were.
Toyota,
Correct. At number 8, yes?
Isuzu.
No, Mitsubishi at number 16.
Yeah.
Neither are known for their electric car fleets, let's face
Mhm.
it. And it's very curious. And networks, newspapers, online publications even live and die by advertising.
Mm.
And you have to wonder when you watch free-to-air channels or read a newspaper, when you see anti-EV stories, which are great for clickbait, let's face it, there's also an agenda there that you are doing the bidding of the people who are paying the bills. And so you see a lot of ads for hybrids, right? But you don't see many ads for electric cars. And there's certainly an agenda right now pushing hybrids at the expense of electric cars. And that is primarily happening because the Japanese car makers are the biggest advertisers by far on our TV and newspapers and online. But I think if you're a new car brand coming to Australia, and even if you're an established car brand that do sell a lot of internal combustion engine cars, but you would like to sell more EVs, and the NVES will force this anyway, I think you need to meet the market and do that old school advertising and actually put your money where your mouth is and spend the money, because the networks will write nice stories for you. They'll create nice content. They'll do Sydney Weekender episodes, they'll go visit whatever. And that's how you embed it and get it in popular culture and shape how Australians feel about EVs, just by kind of slipping it in there. And I think you can't just do online advertising or, do sports sponsorship and stuff like that. It's not enough.
Mm.
You need to spend money with the networks. You need to spend money with the newspapers. You need to really blanket the Australian advertising landscape, and you need to spend the money. And BYD have done a really good job of establishing their brand. But you've got all these other brands coming in now, and you just got to look at that list and see you've got 2 advertisers in that top 20, and they're both Japanese car makers. One has an EV that's, well, they're really not trying to sell it. They're trying to sell hybrids, and the other one doesn't even have one, do they? It's only got hybrids.
Mm. Mm.
And they're both brands that have lost market share in China.
Mm.
Toyota's down, I think it was down something like 6.9% last year in China, and Mitsubishi have pulled out of China completely. So they are really doubling down on the markets that they are doing well in.
Mm.
And we should take note.
Yeah.
And pushing back against the NVES,
Well,
because they don't want it.
yeah, I think that's a good point. Those are good points. I mean, one thing that sticks in my mind is, considering that huge discrepancy in spend between for fossil fuel cars and for electric vehicles. This line that is given to us often of give the people what they want. They want Hiluxes, they want fossil fuel cars.
No, I 100% disagree with that. I've worked in advertising for 25 years. Advertising works. They decide what you buy.
That's what I was going to say. I mean, if 90% of the auto of car advertising spend is not EVs and actually fossil fuels, is it actually what they want, or is it just what
you want to sell?
Yes. Yeah.
It's utter, and people think advertising doesn't work. Believe me, it works. Oh my God, it totally works.
And why they spend so much?
Yeah, like look at their budgets for ads. They're like small movies. The budgets are insane. And if that didn't work, why on earth are they spending so much money on it? Just to make it, not just then put it on air and the fortune it costs to put it on air and keep running it. No. Do not be fooled. If you've got a ute in your driveway, a big ute, and you don't really need it, because you want to like have a lifestyle and do whatever you want, lifestyle ute or whatever you want to do, or you go to Bunnings like once every 6 months and you've got a ute in your driveway. Trust me, it was advertising that convinced you that you needed it. Unless you're a tradie, you probably didn't need it. And if you've got a giant SUV that you have trouble parking because some dealer decided to convince you, or some just, was telling you should, it's safer, you should buy a huge SUV. It's good for you, good for your kids. Like, that's advertising.
And they use these, and as you're saying, they really try and target that sort of masculinity
Yeah.
in men that people do respond to, and so that's why you have names like Raptor and Ranger and D-Max
Rogue.
and and when they're describing the product, it's always powerful and built.
It's a weapon.
Yeah, that's right. It's yeah, it's
And if you buy you have been sucked in. Like, you are a sucker for the advertising. You have been done. So they've made money off you. They're laughing. They don't care. The bigger the vehicle, the bigger the profit for the car maker. Just remember that. The bigger the vehicle, the bigger the margin. They're going to make more money. So of course they're going to convince you. When was the last time you saw an ad for a small car? Think about it.
Yeah.
And it's like, what would suit your life? What would suit 95% of your needs? Being able to park easily and live your life and buy a car that's maybe 75% of the size of the one that someone's trying to sell you is probably plenty.
Yes. Well, I think the point we're making is that big cars do exist, and so they should, but a lot of people
Absolutely
have big cars and they may not necessarily need it, and they may have bought it because that's just what we see on the ads. That's what we see when we turn on the television, when we turn on the radio. It's the big boys. It's the big.
But remember, if you go into a dealership and you're going in to buy a one-size car and they're trying to sell you an upsized car, they're trying to do it because there's a bigger margin in it for you.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Now, I know we're running out of time, but a couple more things I just wanted to touch on. The September EV sales figures, we published that on Driven.
Weren't they good?
What was it 11.3?
11.4? I think they might have even been slightly more, because I think there's still a couple more to come in. I think I read somewhere 11.7.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, definitely over 11%, which is good, and that's on top of the 10% that or thereabouts that we reported for the previous month. So that's good. That's good news, isn't it?
But again, Xpeng don't report, so it could be even higher than that. In fact, it likely is. We could have even gone over 12 potentially. And of course, as you have said previously, it goes up and down with shipments. So we obviously had some Teslas coming in. It might go down next month. It doesn't mean the end of the world. Let's look at next quarter and see how we go towards the end of the year, which hopefully will have some good 2024 plate sales and special deals going on. We're already getting some discounting, so that could be good.
Yes. Well, and also I think September is a month of the year where we do see more discounts and sales offered.
Why is that?
I think it's there is some reason why it's like their financial year or something, where they just generally that's the time of year. There is a reason. You've caught me off guard as to the actual reason.
Sorry.
But I think that there's a reason why September, generally speaking, there is an uptick. But I'll see if I can find out what that reason is and come back to you. But yes, generally speaking, we see a little bit more in September. We did see Tesla come back with the top spot there. I think the Model Y there, just under 4,000 units sold. And then I think the BYD C-Line 7 came in second, just under 2,000. So almost half the Model Y. So there you go, the Model Y doing quite well. And
do we feel like that whole Tesla thing has calmed down a bit now?
It seems like it. I mean, look, for two reasons maybe. One, Elon has obviously kept himself a little bit more out of the headlines, which is probably good for Tesla. Or I would say definitely good for Tesla. But also, the Model Y came out, and that is a good vehicle. I think.
Joe, I still haven't driven it yet.
Oh, it's
on my list. I had to cancel it, and I must do it again. I'll be very curious to see what reaction I get if I do review that car, whether I get cancelled or whether it's going to be fine. I think it's.
Well, at the Driven, we're often it's Tesla's always been a we're either talking about it too much, or we're too against it. because we're reporting on the sales figures, which have, as we've reported, have declined significantly in the last year or so. But look, the Model Y is a great car, and that's selling pretty well as well. So Tesla and BYD, making up a large portion of the almost 2/3 of the month's total for EVs reported in Australia. So those are the two major players still at the moment.
I'm disappointed to see not that many Kias sold. I find that a little bit frustrating.
Yes.
Because the Kia EV3 is just such a great car. I am unapologetic in my love for that car. I just love it. I've got one on long-term loan at the moment, and I just, when you're with a car for a while and you're like, how do I really feel about this? I love that car. I genuinely do. And it's a great size, especially living in the city. It's just ticks so many boxes. But yeah.
How many do you think was sold in September? If you had to take a guess.
I think it was around 280 or something.
Yeah, pretty close. Yeah, 241 sold
Okay.
EV3s in September. So yes, not a groundbreaking amount, but there are some going out. I think they're great cars too. I haven't actually driven it properly. I've had a little spin in it, but I'd like to take that out and see what it's like to have for at least a week or two. So yes, I guess the news there is Tesla and BYD still dominating that.
How many Instas were sold out of interest?
I didn't even make the let me have a look. So the top vehicle, which isn't a BYD or Tesla, was the EV5, which was 307 sales for the month.
Okay.
And then I'm going to, and for those who don't already know, please do check out the EV sales page on the Driven, which Tim Eden keeps up to date. I don't have the Instas right there. Yeah.
Do you love the Insta? I think maybe we're just in a club all by ourselves, Sam. I don't know.
Maybe.
I just love those sliding seats in the back.
They sold.
That is ingenious.
57 they sold in September. 339 year to date. So it's an uptick on the previous month, which was 44.
Maybe now they've discounted it a bit, they might sell a few more.
Maybe.
That would be good.
But they are down the list at the moment. There's twice the amount of people bought the Q4 e-tron. So
I wonder how many Instas you could buy for an e-tron. A few.
I know. Okay. All right. One more thing. I wanted to see what you think about. And you may not have driven the Tesla's FSD car, but we did a bit last episode, or the episode before rather, on FSD, and Tim had it for a bit, and he was very impressed with how good it was and how adaptable it was, and how much of a good job it did without needing any intervention. But it's still supervised, and you need your hands on the wheel, and you need to make sure it doesn't take any wrong turns or do a right turn when it's you can't do a right turn, or if it's a school zone, and make sure it's doing all that at the right time. So there's a few things, and as I said in that episode, I think autonomous driving sounds great if I have other things I can do, but
it's not really autonomous driving, is it?
No, not quite. So
you have to sit there with your hands hovering over the wheel, and it's like,
I might get bored. That's what I think. Oh, what do you think?
I just it's like AI. It's like, do we really need it? I just feel like these things make us dumber. That's how I feel about it. Probably a lot of people will disagree with me, but I just, as a cyclist and as a pedestrian and someone on two wheels quite often, I just really worry about a car being driven without hands on the wheel, and that anything could happen.
Can I put this to you, though? I'm going to play devil's advocate. I mean, Sydney, if you're a cyclist in Sydney, it's not exactly, you don't feel the safest at all times. I mean, people are not great with cyclists, and there are lots of cyclist accidents. So what if FSD, full self-driving, could statistically provide a safer environment for cyclists? Is that something which might change your mind on that, if we're looking at data in terms of how often?
I just feel like I can't believe this has just been allowed to just go ahead what, like, the regulation has just been like, okay, we'll go off and do that now. Then off you go. And I guess people have been using some half version of that for a long time, mapping out our streets and doing all that stuff. There will always be something that happens that is not prepared for. I mean, sure, if it helps, great. But what happens when it doesn't? What happens when someone claims, oh, the car was driving and it kills a cyclist or a pedestrian, and who's responsible for that then? And
Yes.
well, where does that data go? Do we all hear about that? Like, is that logged somewhere so that we actually do know what's going on? I don't know. As I said, it's like AI. I just think it's making us dumb.
Well, at the moment, it's still very much, and Tesla would like to point out, a supervised version of an FSD vehicle. So you are responsible for the car, and if the car is on FSD mode and you hit someone, you are responsible for that. So that's at the moment.
I'll have to try it. I haven't tried it. I can't. I shouldn't be pillorying something that I haven't tried. But
Well, you're not the first.
I do worry.
We had we've had a couple of people on the podcast who have also voiced similar concerns. What does this mean for the safety of pedestrians and cyclists? And how good is it really? And is it actually going to provide a safer environment for drivers and for people? So that's a question. Whether,
because it is only camera based, isn't it? There's no LiDAR, so I'm like,
yeah, I think it uses as well, but it's not obviously going to give you data on people. But it's you do have. I was saying, with Tim, you got Google Maps, you got the cameras, and you got yourself, so you got 3 different inputs on decision making. How well that gels together to make the.
I mean, to be honest, people are idiots, so maybe it's a good thing.
Have I just changed?
I mean, who knows? Honestly, maybe you've got 2 people there looking at. You've got the car and people, because people are so distracted. They're looking at their phones. They're doing stupid stuff. Yeah. They're so dumb. They are so dumb on the road. So maybe it's a good thing.
Yes.
I guess time will tell, but I would hate to think that we would have to lose some human lives or maim some people to get to the point where it does work properly and will be unsupervised. Sure, the idea of working in a car and being able to do things while the car is driving you around, great. But again, it's one of these things that's it's just going to take jobs away from people, isn't it? You're going to lose all those Uber drivers and taxi drivers, just as AI is taking jobs away from people. So if you're happy to bring in a universal wage and tax billionaires, I'm so here for it. Knock yourself out. But otherwise, yeah.
Well, that's going to be another episode, I think, talking about some Sarah's take on TED Talk on capitalism and pros and cons. Well, is there anything else before we wrap up? I know you've driven a few vehicles. We touched on the Skodas and the Insta. We've talked about how much we like it. Is there anything else we need to touch on before we?
I will say I'm very excited that legacy car makers are starting to price their vehicles more sensibly to compete against the Chinese vehicles. So Skoda doing that is great, and we need competition. We need those legacy car makers to do that, and I'm very, very happy to see it. So also the green that the Enyaq comes in is one of the best coloured cars I have ever seen. I am so in love with that colour, and I have one thing to say to Skoda: please make the L-Rock in that colour as well, because it is so nice. It's this dark green. It's so sexy.
Is it the hero color for the Enyaq? Is it, or is it like a? Is it?
It's not bright. It's this lovely dark kind of military. It's just absolutely stunning. I know that's really weird to talk about car colors, but well, I'm a woman, so it matters to me. What can I say? I don't apologize for that. But
no, I'm into car colors too. I think it's important.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, that buttermilk color of the Insta is also super cute with the houndstooth interior. Can't go past that. Can't go past it. These things matter. These are the things that you enjoy about the car and love. And actually that interior on the Enyaq is beautiful. It's very dark, but those seats are fantastic. And they're that kind of suede type material, and it's just gorgeous. It's a nice car.
So would the L-Rock reach your shortlist for your shopping list on the next vehicle? Or is it just...
It would if I was richer. It would. Because I'd want I would want the 529 kilometer range version. Just with an NMC battery, I'd like to have, if I'm charging it to 80%, then, that's what I want to have up my sleeve, 400 and something. It's lovely. And certainly if I had the money, it would be between that, the Kia EV3 or the EX30, that kind of Thank
Yeah, yeah.
thank you for the future. Don't know.
Well, once you do decide what you're going to get, we'll have to have you back on and go through that
Mm.
process and
Well, actually, I've been looking at the auctions. That's something we should get me back on because I'm
secondhand.
very interested in the auctions, and I'm kind of following that and learning all about it and how it all works. It's
Mm.
a fascinating world.
Yeah.
So
Well, there's some
yes, we should discuss that.
good deals to be had at the moment in the secondhand market in the EV world.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
yeah, for sure, that sounds good. Well,
Yeah.
I think that's probably about all the time we have for today. But Sarah, thanks for coming on the Driven Podcast once again. It's really great to have you on.
Thanks for having me. Remember, you can't say Frankfurt.
Okay, fine, but you can't say China, so
Ah!
deal.
One more time.
For those who aren't already familiar, do check out Electrify This on YouTube and on TikTok and Instagram. Fantastic source of information and news around EVs, but everything related to the electric
Decarbonisation.
decarbonization. So do go.
And also Facebook for the boomers if you're on
Oh,
there.
yep.
Yeah.
Facebook too. Don't forget. Thanks very much, Sarah. Thank you to our sponsor, the Australian Electric Vehicle Association, for your support. And we'll be back with another episode of the Driven Podcast probably in a week or two. We'll see you then. Take care.